So from here on out, we're going to just be repeating. We're going to make a block here on this side. I'm calling it the left side, and then a block on the right, and then on the left and on the right, and so on. And you'll just keep repeating that until you get your blanket about as tall as you would like it to be. So for this first one, we're going to be starting in this space right here. Hopefully you can see that there's, you know, 2 C to C stitches, 2 C to C blocks missing right here. And so we're going to start with this side and build up. So just go ahead and attach your yarn your favorite way. I like to just draw up a loop. To get my yarn attached. And a chain, I guess, technically. And then go ahead and chain 3 and work 3 double crochets in that same place to make the first C to C stitch. So it should look like that when you're done with that first one, and then there's just one more space right here for another one, which we'll take care of later. And then we're going to go ahead and just continue working all the way up to here. There should be 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 when you get to the top. And I would recommend here just stopping and making sure you have 9, because sometimes it can be tempting to want to work into this stitch there. So just check, because like I said, going forward, this block and this block here that you make to build the length on your blanket is, you're just going to repeat these instructions. So check that you have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to repeat this little section right here with making 3 more of those floating increases, so that you will have 12 stitches when we're done with this entire row. So hopefully you remember the floating increase, and if you don't, you can practice it again here, and I'm sure soon you will know, because you'll be making a lot of them. So we're going to start with a chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you're going to slip stitch into the last double crochet that you made. From back to front is how I like to do it. So then now you have this little loop. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then make 3 double crochets into this loop. 1, 2, 3, and then you should be left with something that looks like a C to C stitch, and then there's a bottom loop, and that's okay. I think I'll make the next one and I will zoom in. So chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then slip stitch into this last double crochet stitch right there, back to front. Sorry. And then you're just going to yarn over to complete the slip stitch. And then you should be left with a little loop. So just chain 3, and then make your 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to zoom out. We need to make 1 more of those. Chain 6. And slip stitch into the last double crochet back to front. Chain 3. And then make 3 double crochets into the loop. So now you should have something that looks like that. And you should have 12 stitches total. So the 9 that we worked plus the 3 floating increases. So this block that you're working on, this unfinished side, I call it the left side in the pattern, but remember, if you're left-handed, it would be on your right side. It's this unfinished, the side that's not a straight edge. You will have 12 stitches and we will do 6 rows. So that will always be the same until you get to the very top and you want to start making the top straight again. So we have 12. So now we're gonna work back down. I don't want to be too wordy, but for people who learn this way, you know, we don't want to make a straight edge right here. Again, we want to keep this bumpy edge. So we're going to start with a decrease because we just want to work 12 stitches right back down into these 12 that we made. So you're not going to do the chain 6 to start a new C to C stitch. And remember, the decreases are done with chaining 3. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you'll have to turn your work and bring it up so you can slip stitch. And then you'll chain 3 and make 3 double crochets into that same place that you slip stitched. So I'm just going to turn my whole work around. And then you're just going to keep working all the way back down. If you want to work ahead, you move a little faster than me, that's fine, but stop right here. Don't go into that last stitch yet. Okay, so I'm at my last one. Technically my second to last one. I'm at the one that I said to stop at. And some of you might have already figured out what needs to happen here. But basically, just like what we did down here with the blue and the yellow, we need to make our last stitch, you know, right here in this. And when we make it, we need to connect it to this yellow one because there's this, you know, space here that the stitch will go into, and we want those sides to be closed off and joined together. So we're going to do just like we did for the blue and the yellow down here, the exact same method. The first thing you're going to do, maybe I'll zoom in again, is slip stitch into the loop here like you always do when you make your C to C stitches. And then you're going to chain 3. And then we're going to slip stitch into the chain 3 loop over here on this one, just so there's a way to anchor the two together. And then now you're just going to go back into this loop over here and complete the C to C stitch by making your 3 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, 3. My work is spinning around a little bit. And then we just need to slip stitch into this corner down here to link those stitches together. So I'm going to do it right here, kind of in the double crochet stitch. So now they're stuck together. And we need to get back up here because we still have to work 4 more rows of the green. So this is where you chain 3. And then you got to slip stitch right up in there. So I like to turn my work before I make my slip stitch. So I'm just going to flip it over and slip stitch. So now I'm ready. So I'll chain 3 and make 3 double crochets in that same place where I slip stitched. And that will be my first C to C stitch of the 3rd row of this green block that I'm making. And then you'll just continue working into the top of each one of these stitches, and there'll be 12. So make sure you count, because like I said, it gets a little tricky up here because sometimes you want to work into that one. So make sure you have 12 stitches. So I reached the top. I'm just going to set my work down and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm going to go back down, and I want to have 12 again, so I need to start right here. So I'm just going to chain 3 and slip stitch into that space there so I can work all the way back down. And just like we did last time, so chain 3, turn your work and slip stitch, and then start making your chain 3 and 3 double crochets to come back down. And just like we did before, just the stitch before the last one, just kind of stop for a second, so you can kind of get your bearings, because when you make the very last stitch, you'll be joining it again. So this is what I mean by the blanket's very repetitive, because it'll just be a lot of this green block that I'm doing here, and then the one that we do together next. And I'll need to go and check my blog to see, I don't remember what my blanket's finished dimensions were. I wanted it to just be like it's in our living room. It's just kind of like a blanket we just use when we're sitting on the couch. And I don't think I have ever deliberately tried to make a blanket a specific size. I just always kind of, while I'm working on it, just look at it and decide like that looks big enough for whatever I want to use it for. But I do remember that I made 20. So this green block, and then the one that we do next, I did 20 of those, 10 on each side. And it came out to be a nice size blanket, like I said, for just to keep in your living room. So then you'll just stop, here again. I mean, you don't have to stop here every time you're working on it, but just in the beginning, I think when you're getting your bearings, so you'll make your last stitch here, and you'll connect it into this one right here. This time I'm not going to zoom in. So I'm going to slip stitch into the green where I would normally always make a C to C stitch. Chain 3 to start the C to C stitch, and then now I want to join it to this yellow side, so I'm going to slip stitch into that chain 3 space on the yellow side to connect those two sides together, and then I'm going to make my 3 double crochets into the same space that I slip stitched, just the normal space you would work your C to C stitch. So now the stitch is finished, and I need to connect it to the yellow again, just like in the corner down there. So I'm going to go kind of right here in this double crochet, slip stitch, and now my blocks are attached, and I've only made 4 rows of the green. I need to do 2 more, so I need to get back up here. So I'm going to chain 3, oh my goodness, and then I like to turn my work and I'm going to just slip stitch into this chain 3 loop here, chain 3, and make 3 double crochets, and that'll be my first C to C stitch for row 5. of this green. And then I'm just going to work all the way back up again for a total of 12 C2C stitches. So I got to the top. I'm going to just count really quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm going to come back down. Again, start with the chain 3, slip stitch into the side of this one and work your stitches all the way back down. And at the very last one, you'll join one final time. And since that join will be the last of this row, like of this color, you can just, after you make that second slip stitch, you can just fasten off. So my plan is with this is, after I finish this green block, I'll make another block on the other side, and then I'm going to just move from there into straightening out the blanket, but you guys will want to repeat this green block and then whatever color I do next until you get your blanket a little bigger. And hopefully you can just kind of do that without even needing the video. But if you did need it, you could just rewind back to this green block to watch it another time. So I've been kind of thinking about what I'm going to do with this because I don't know exactly what the dimensions are going to be. At first I was thinking maybe like a pillow, but I think it's going to be kind of wide. And then I was thinking like a table runner would be kind of cute, but I didn't pick good colors for that. Ooh, I was also just thinking now I could maybe experiment. I don't know, maybe I should keep that a secret for for another pattern idea. Maybe I could experiment with making it into a bag. If you haven't like checked out my blog at all, I really like to make bags, and I like to make stuffed toys. So there it is, and then I just have the one left to go, and I'm gonna join it into this side as I do it. So slip stitch like I would do to make the last stitch and chain 3. And then I'm just going to slip stitch right over here. Now I need to complete my C2C stitch by working 3 double crochets. And then I need to join one more time in this corner for the yellow. So then I'm going to cut and fasten off. Okay, so you're going to want to start your next color. We're going to be working on top of these yellow stitches. So hopefully you can see that this space right here is the size of 2 little C2C stitches, 2 C2C blocks. So we need to put one right here on this yellow side. So again, I start by just pulling up a loop and chaining. And then you'll chain 3 and make 3 double crochets in that same space, and that'll be your first C to C stitch. And then you'll just continue making C to C stitches all the way up this side. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I got to the top, and hopefully you can see I made 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this time we do want to add a stitch on top because we do want to make this straight edge going up this way. So you'll start up here with the chain 6. That I'm calling it the increase in the pattern, but it's the kind of C to C stitch where you chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you work a double crochet into the 4th, 5th, and 6th chain from the hook. So when you come back down, because we increased, you will have made 9 stitches. So you have this on top, and then this is where you got to turn your work and rotate, slip stitch, chain 3, and make 3 double crochets, and you'll work all the way back down to the bottom. And then if you want to stop, at that last stitch again to work the join with me, I'll go through that again. But maybe by now you have it figured out. So I made it back down. I have one more stitch to make right here, and I'm going to just join it into this green stitch on the other side, just like we've been doing every time. And hopefully it's getting more comfortable to you. So just slip stitch into this last one and make your chain 3. To start your last C to C stitch, and then come over into this chain 3 loop and slip stitch to connect them, and then work your 3 double crochets like normal, and then make your final join kind of in that corner. And I'm going into the double crochet here, but I believe when I made it the first time, I even went kind of in between this double crochet, like right in that to that little teeny tiny space, but I thought it would be easier to describe the double crochet, and I don't really notice a difference doing it that way. So the point is, I think if you just kind of find a place that is working well for you, just keep it consistent throughout your blanket and it'll look fine. And then we need to get back in here so we can work stitches all the way up to the top, and we'll be making 9 again. So you got to chain 3, and then I like to turn my work, and then I'm going to just slip stitch right here, chain 3, and make my 3 double crochets to make my 9 C to C stitches back up the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then we're going to work back down for row 4. We're going to add a stitch up here, so there'll be 10 stitches when you come down. So we're going to start with a chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Double crochet into the 4th, 5th, and 6th chain from the hook. One, two, 3, and then got to turn your work and come back down. And on that 10th stitch, that's the one where you will be joining to the other side. And again, I'll walk you through the join if you get there before me and you want to wait to see it. Or maybe you get there before me and you want to just try it without me. Because I'm hoping maybe that you guys can keep filling in these repeating blocks, you know, on your own. And then you can just come back over to the video when you get your blanket as tall as you would like it to be. And we can straighten up the top edge together. And then start adding panels to the sides. And that's where I think it really starts getting fun, because that's where I think the colors really start just like mixing together more. And like I said yesterday, if you're doing a smaller, more scaled down blanket, you can skip the middle panel and just jump over to the 3rd video to work the other side, which is similar to this side we're doing now. So I made it down. So just like before, I'll make my last stitch right here and I'll join it to this one while I'm making it. So I'm going to slip stitch into the usual spot and chain 3 to start my C2C stitch. And then I'm going to slip stitch right here into this loop to connect them. I'm going to come back over where I slip stitched to start the C2C stitch and make my last 3 double crochets. And then I just need to join this block one more time to this green corner, and I'm going to do it right here in the double crochet stitch. Now it's connected, and now I need to work 10 stitches back up this side. I got to start here, so I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to turn my work and slip stitch right there, chain 3, and make my 3 double crochets to be my first of 10 C2C stitches for this 5th row. And then I'm just going to continue making C2C stitches all the way up the top. So I got to the top and I have 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I've done 5 rows. You can count those over on this edge. So I need to do 6 rows. I have 1 more. And again, I want to keep building my blanket taller, so I'm going to start with an increase. So I'm going to end up making 11 C to C stitches. On the 11th stitch right here, I'll join into this side. So I'll start with the chain 6 and a double crochet into the 4th, 5th, and 6th chain from the hook. So there I have made 10 so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I need to make my 11th in this last stitch and join it over here into the green one when I make it. And this is the 6th row, so you can just fasten off after you make that second join into the green side. So I slip stitched and chained 3 like usual. Now I'm just going to slip stitch into the green block to attach them. And then I'm going to make my 3 double crochets like usual. And then I'm going to come back and slip stitch into this corner of the green. So this double crochet stitch. To tack it down at the other side. And then that is my last row. So I will cut and fasten off, and you really, really, really should weave in your ends. I'm not setting a good example. I'm just gonna pull it so that they're all on one side. But you should weave them in, seriously, because it's a lot. So then this, basically from here, the next thing you would need to do is make another block that looks exactly like this green block. You would want to be working on this left side into the green blocks. So you would start, hopefully you can see this, you know, there's 2 spaces for blocks here. So you're going to start it right here in the green, and these green side blocks will always be 6 rows of 12 stitches. So the first row, you only have 9 places to work into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So when you get up here, you need to make 3 of the floating increases, and that'll get you your 12 stitches. You want to keep your stitch count at 12, so when you're at the top, you'll do what I'm calling the decrease. You'll chain 3 so that you can just slip stitch into the side and work 12 down. On your 12th stitch at the bottom, you'll join to the block on the other side. So in my case, it would be this blue here. And then you would work 12 up, 12 down, join, 12 up, 12 down, join. And then you would come and make another block exactly like this one. To start it, you would be on the opposite side, and you would start in this, well, you wouldn't technically start here because you would have made 3, but you would start in your blue side. It would look like this, but you would have had your other block coming down. And then you'll work up for a total of 8. And on this side, you want to keep adding, you know, blocks to bring your edge up. So this is the side where you would do the chain 6 increase, and you would come down for 9 and join. You would work up 9, increase to 10, come down to join, come up 10, increase to 11, come down to join. And then you would turn your work again and make another block like the green block. So I hope that hopefully you guys, enough of you kind of have it figured out that you can just keep layering blocks, as many as you would like, and then you can just resume this video and we'll square off the top of the blanket. You can rewind back if you need the directions. So start with the green block and then this one, and you can repeat those directions as much as you would like. And again, for my blanket on my pattern, I did 20 total of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I had 20 to get mine to the size that I liked. And then I will see you guys to square off the top.